Hitting the open.
Now from Atlanta News First Plus, this is Sports Tonight.
Welcome to Sports Tonight, Emily.
What's up, Scotty?
Welcome to Sports Tonight here on this great Tuesday we're at, January. This month is flying by. We're
I
just talking
know,
about
it's
that.
February, the month of love coming up.
Yeah, well, yeah. This is this is crazy. I mean, I can't believe we're already a month into the new year.
Yeah, it's a great life to live, and you're doing something cool tonight. And are we talking? No, we're not absolutely talking about that tonight. Tell the people what you're doing after this show.
Well, heading over to Georgia Tech, shooting some Georgia Tech basketball tonight. They'll be going up against North Carolina. It's always a big deal.
Number 3, North Carolina.
Number 3, UNC. So that's obviously a big deal, right? I mean, you know, with Coach Stoudemire, and they've been sort of teetering lately. So it's a good opportunity to
Wait,
get
did you say teetering lately?
Well, I mean,
ACC play's been ugly for them. They won 2 of 9.
I was trying to be nice.
No. And listen, I think it's growing pains, right? Like I think Damon has to be able to get his own roster.
Yeah.
He has one class under him. You're going to have to allow him to get 2 or 3 before Tech can completely turn things around. That's a tough thing to do, especially in the ACC.
And
I think it's the best conference in all of college basketball.
I think you're right, and I think he'll get them together.
Oh, maybe. So we agree on something today. I love it. But for UNC, though, I didn't realize this. They're 9-0 in ACC play for the first time since 2000, 2001.
Yeah. So, well.
Over 20 years.
Our guy Hubert Davis got them together, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, that's wild. So I feel a certain way. Let's just say I feel for Tech tonight because they might just. I think destruction might occur.
Well, look,
they can't finish games.
I'll be sitting on the floor, getting a first-hand look at the Tar Heels, and maybe we'll see an upset. Who knows, right?
I'll be sitting on the floor. I love that.
Maybe we'll see an upset.
That's not a bad thing, guys. Most of the time you think sitting on the floor is not.
No, it's good.
He's talking about courtside.
I'm fine with it.
He'll be sitting on the floor shooting.
I'm fine with it. Hey, look. So, let's start with I guess where we started with Georgia Tech, but let's get into the Falcons a little bit. So, I think it's pretty cool, right? Because I remember, I don't think I've talked to you since Raheem Morris was hired by the Falcons. I know you were really high on him coming back, and it seems like his staff is taking shape now. We hired Zach Robinson as his offensive coordinator from the Rams. Obviously, had some familiarity there, and then Jimmy Lake, the defensive coordinator, brought him in. Another guy from the Rams. So it looks like he's turning the Falcons into the Rams East, right?
Well, and then you didn't mention Marquise Williams.
Oh, yeah, he's just keeping him, right?
Yeah, but I mean, that's something to be said. You're a special teams coordinator for 4 years.
He's a good one, too.
You get retained. Young Waku might be the reason behind that. He's
cool.
I mean, the best there is, I think, right now. I do think he might be the best in NFL right now, during this period.
For sure. And Marquise is a real solid dude, too. I'm pretty much every week going out there, the Falcons, covering that team. Marquise comes out there. He's a very solid, very detail-oriented coach. So I can definitely see why Raheem wanted to keep him in place, keep that continuity going.
You have to have somebody on your staff who's been there, even though Raheem has been there, but he hasn't been there in however many years.
It's been a while.
4 years, I guess.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that they retained somebody. I always get a little nervous, and this is me, not ever having been a coach before, but I get a little nervous when you hire guys that are like they're coming from the Rams together.
Yeah.
So there's no differences in the room in the sense that different ideas. But he brought them with him because he likes their ideas, right? There's a good, solid relationship there. He likes their beliefs. He probably likes how they run things.
For sure.
But for me, that's the only thing where I'm like, ooh, you and I talk about this, though, how you have to have different people in a room to have good things happen sometimes. So that's but I mean, who cares what I have to say? Let's see how it works this upcoming season, right?
No, but I agree with you, though. But
he's the coach I wanted, and he's the coach the Falcons took. So
right, and just we know how the NFL works, right? I mean, people like to hire guys who they have a familiarity with.
Correct.
When they're going into a new situation that can implement a lot of the things that they did in the previous place, which they deemed to be successful. So getting Zach Robinson in, look, Zach Robinson appears to be like the next new guy kind of up on the offensive side that he seems like he's going to be interviewing for head coaching jobs before you even know it. His name just seems to be kind of just jumping up that list. And let's be real. Anybody who was under Sean McVay seems to have their gold. I mean, Sean McVay is like the new Mike Holmgren or one of those guys that's going to have a tree up underneath him of coaches that is so wide because I think people value Sean McVay and what he is as a head coach. And so pretty much anyone who's up underneath him as far as assistants and everything, they move up the ladder really fast. So I think when you look at it that way, and I think if Zach Robinson can bring some of those things that the Rams had and bring them to the Falcons offense, I think they could have some pretty good things going.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm excited altogether. I think Raheem's got something that the fact that he just keeps waiting his turn tells me that it matters to him to be a head coach. He's put his head down. He hasn't complained, at least not that we know of, and he's just taken circumstances as they've kind of come his way, right?
Right.
He rolls with the punches, and I respect that. And I absolutely think for the city of Atlanta, this was the right pick. And I will say that again and again and again and again. And before, like I said, before he was hired, I said, this is the guy that the Falcons should go after. And I'm not saying that to say that I was right, but that's because how I felt.
Yeah, and people seem to love him. Like when you look around the league, when I was watching ESPN First Take the next day and different guys on ESPN, NFL Network, they sing the praises of Raheem Morris. Guys like Ryan Clark and people who are really plugged in around the NFL, they really love what Raheem brings to the table as far as how he relates to the players, his knowledge of the game, and just kind of he's paid his dues, like you said. I mean, he was in Tampa as the head coach there, waited a while before he got his second opportunity, probably carefully pick this situation here, but I don't think there's any better situation for him to be going into, just given the fact that he has the familiarity with the Falcons, and I think it's a city that's definitely going to embrace him.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I think it's going to be great. He's going to be introduced on Monday, and it'll be Super Bowl week, but on Monday at least we'll hear from a coach who has coached a winning team in a Super Bowl and coached a losing team in a Super Bowl, and I think those are the only two. He won one with the Rams, lost one with the Falcons.
Yeah.
So he has perspective, and possibly we might be able to hear about that. I certainly would love to know,
for sure,
any thoughts he has on the upcoming Super Bowl, but also just being back in Atlanta and how excited he is.
Super Bowl experience. So, we go from the new guy to the guy whose job he's taking. Arthur Smith hired today. I
love your transition.
Arthur Smith hired as the offensive coordinator for the struggling offense that the Pittsburgh Steelers have had this year. He's going to be charged with getting whoever's a quarterback, whether it's Kenny Pickett or whether if they get a new guy or get somebody off free agency, he's going to be the guy who's in charge of getting that offense going in the right direction in Pittsburgh. And look, I like it for Pittsburgh. I mean,
you do?
I do, because people will look at the situation here. Look, some guys are just meant to be coordinators, right? And I think that's Arthur Smith. When he was a coordinator with the Titans, he did a really good job. That team got to the AFC Championship game back in 2019. He got the best out of Ryan Tannehill, who just happens to be a free agent, right? Mm-hmm. So who knows? You could guess where he might be headed. But no, I think he did a really good job getting the most out of that Titans offense. First of all, he did a smart thing. He got the ball in the hands of Derrick Henry a lot, and he kind of carried that offense where it needed to be. But a lot of guys are just meant to be coordinators, right? And I think that's just kind of what his mentality is. I think Arthur Smith is better set to be a coordinator, and I think he's a trusted coordinator around the league. So that's why I think he got this opportunity. And so I think that's a pretty solid hire for the Steelers, who need a guy that's going to be able to jumpstart just a real stale offense.
I'm excited for him to meet George Pickens. That's all.
That's your guy.
Just listen, he is a playmaker.
Yeah, he is.
But good luck. Okay.
Well,
the maturity that he had at UGA has followed him into the NFL, and he has yet to, I guess, grow up in a sense, which kind of surprises me with where he is.
It is.
I feel like the head coach for the Steelers, Tomlin.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's down with the games. He just seems like the type of man who wouldn't be afraid to get Pickens in a room and tell him this is the Steelers way and this is how you're going to do it and you're going to stop doing this. But that hasn't happened.
Well, I think a lot of guys. That's why a lot of former Steelers guys on TV have said maybe the Steelers have lost their way a little bit, because these are things from a personality standpoint. I don't know of a stronger NFL football organization than the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? I mean, for what they've been, they've only had 3 coaches since 1969. So
This is fact.
this
Like
is
1969?
fact. 1969. They haven't fired a coach since 1969. They've only had 3 coaches since 1969. Chuck Noll, they had Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin. So that's a no-nonsense organization.
I like that. I didn't realize that, Scott.
Right, that's crazy, isn't it?
I actually think that's delicious.
That's wild. So
No, I think that's great.
and then you got organizations that have had like 3 coaches in the last 2 years. So
Yeah.
so
I love that.
I think that's tremendous. So I think, first of all, Arthur's going to the right kind of organization, because that's a very passionate organization that clearly doesn't like to fire people. So that's a good thing. And I think, like you said, working with guys like George Pickens, and I think he'll come up with good strategies to get him to football. Now, I know Falcons fans probably don't believe that, because they had Drake London and Kyle Pitts, and he didn't do a very good job of getting them to football, right? So, but look, let's be real. I mean, most offensive coordinators around the league are guys who failed as head coaches, or guys who aren't really equipped to be head coaches. So I don't look at it as a bad thing.
Okay.
Right.
I'm glad that you don't.
So how about this? So
How about this?
apparently Kirk Cousins, it comes out today that he may be seeking a fully guaranteed contract, about 2 years, $90 million, which would break out to about $45 million per season. And he's coming off a season in which he tore his Achilles. So do you think it's realistic? Look, I guess you can ask for whatever you want to ask for, but do you think it's realistic that someone is going to give Kirk Cousins $45 million per season guaranteed?
Let me hold some. That's all I want. No.
Get that
Scott,
bag.
Right. I would like to have a little piece of that. But I don't think it's realistic. However, I do think that if you don't ask for it, you don't get it.
That's true.
So, and that's with anything in life, right?
That's true.
I just think that the NFL can't be any different than like our jobs or somebody who works anywhere. You always think you're worth more than the company thinks, right?
For sure.
So,
yeah.
do
Good
I
point.
think that he's worth and going to get $45 million?
90 million total.
I don't believe so, but I like that he's asking for it.
Kirk Cousins has made a lot of money in the NFL, and it's kind of crazy because pretty much every team Kirk Cousins is on, and I've said this before.
Do you know his last contract, how much he made?
Oh, I know he had a
That's what
fully
I'm gonna
guaranteed
look
one that
it
was
up.
like 3 years, $84 million. I know that was fully guaranteed. But he's had some pretty good contracts since he's been in the NFL. I know he's made some pretty good money, and which is kind of interesting because I've always said with Kirk Cousins, he was the kind of quarterback. If he's on your team, you're guaranteed to be a middle-of-the-road type team, right? I mean, he's not a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He doesn't have that clutch gene that's going to get you over the top. But he's not bad enough to just totally disregard or throw away, right? He's kind of in that middle class, that middle tier of quarterbacks where he's going to put up a lot of numbers week to week. It's going to look real pretty. He's going to have really nice-looking stats. But when you actually watch the games and see what he is, he's a guy who you're only going to beat with so good if he's your quarterback.
All right. Well, I got some good stuff for you, Scott.
Good stuff. Go for it.
All right.
We have a few minutes
So
here.
$84 million, 3 years, 2018. That's he signed that deal. So this is $6 million more, but he's asking for it in a shorter amount of time and with some wear and tear on him, right?
Yeah.
But what's being said here in this article I'm reading, $45 million would barely put him in the top 10 among quarterbacks.
Okay. Well, look.
Because the market has grown so much.
Market has grown. Well, look, it's a great time to be a free agent quarterback. I guess guys like Baker Mayfield and guys like that are probably this is a good time to be a free agent because, look.
Or if you're the Bucks though, you're like, let me get on that, right? Like you're gonna give Baker a contract.
Yeah, I think
right. He earned it, right?
he made the Pro Bowl this year. He had his best season as a pro. Yeah, I mean, I think it's about time for him to get some money. And when you look at Kirk Cousins, yeah, I mean, Kirk Cousins has the kind of resume that I think you could justify in today's market giving him $45 million per year. But coming off of torn Achilles, I don't know. But look, we'll see. I mean, it's you know how it goes with the quarterback position, right? If you don't. There's two different types of teams, those teams who have quarterbacks and those teams who need one. So if you're one of those teams who need one, you may give Kirk Cousins that bag. Who knows? So Atlanta United, they're getting ready to start their season pretty soon, right? They'll be getting going. It seems like their season is never over. They have the longest season known to man. But they were talking here this week about their upcoming season. Emily, you excited?
Thrilled. I can't wait.
All right.
Mercedes-Benz Stadium gets wild, though,
Exactly.
for their matches.
Well, let's check out what they're talking about. Here's some Atlanta United.
I got off to a good start last year. I was out beginning of the season with a shoulder injury, but I think once I got within the group, I got in a little groove. Was able to get in games, get some goals, impact games. So if I can get going as quick as possible for this year, I think it'll set me up well for the rest of the year.
And how is the progress so far?
Yeah, it's good. It's still a couple weeks in. We just played our first scrimmage, so I think as we get our guys back from international duty, we get our core group together, and we start gelling, it'll start to look pretty good.
What does this preseason look like? I mean, it's just started, but what does it look like thus far versus previous preseasons for you here in Atlanta?
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty similar as the past few seasons I've been here. Just getting back into the rhythm, just working out on building out more. So still early, just getting back into the groove.
You're still a young guy, but there are younger players still on the team coming up through the academy, through the twos, not the first team. What's kind of the message you can give them?
Yeah, just help them, little pointers, whether it's on the field, off the field, just trying to be a good person, good human, and then when it's on the field, just little guidance, pointers. I mean, they kind of know what to do, but I think as you get to the first team, just sharpen it up.
I know it's early, but does this group feel different in any way?
It's tough to tell. It's really early. I think we won't know until our first intense matches down in Florida, so we'll see.
Did you know Dax McCarty from a long time ago, out of curiosity?
I do. I think I was really young. I think back in D.C., my dad and him were teammates for a little bit. So, yeah, it's crazy to be playing with him now.
Have y'all had a conversation? I mean, a conversation about that meeting a long time ago?
I think he just mentioned it briefly. I think we both kind of knew that it happened in the past, but
Right.
yeah.
Okay. When y'all watch film of Birmingham, what were the positives? What were the things that need some immediate attention?
I think just overall the control of the game. We want to control games from front to back, playing out of the back. It's also just to work on new things that we want to bring out in the season. And again, it's early, so mistakes are happening. It's okay. You just learn. We got different groups playing together, new players, so it just takes time.
How the new players blended in so far?
Yeah, I think it's been well. Great guys in the locker room. The camaraderie is great. I think we'll be pretty solid.
You mentioned last year how useful was the off season and the break. What did you do?
For me individually, just relax. It's a long season. See family, a lot of golf.
Say I saw some
How you
golf
play?
stuff.
It's all right. Driver needs a little bit of work.
Who's the best golfer on the team?
Uh,
I know Brooks is pretty good.
Brooks is up there. Noah plays a bit. There's a couple new guys who play, so we'll see. There'll be some good games.
All right.
You can admit it.
Yeah.
I haven't experienced that horrific Atlanta traffic I've heard about, but I know I'm certain I'm certain it'll happen eventually. But to be honest, I've only learned a little bit about the Battery. That's where I've been for pretty much the entire time. I've tried a bunch of restaurants down there, so I'm sure I'll have to take the family when everybody gets here, but until they get here, I don't think I need to go back there. I've been there a lot, so as far as the team goes, obviously you learn little things about guys here and there, but just from a distance, it's kind of what I expected. A team that has a lot of top-level talent in MLS and a lot of top-level attacking talent in MLS. It's been fun to be a part of the first couple training sessions for the first few weeks and just see, the differences and the nuances that each team has in MLS. And so just getting to know my teammates, getting to know my coaches, how things are done at this club the expectations that come with this club, which from the outside, you always look at Atlanta United as a big club and a club with high expectations, big pressure to succeed and to win. And then you get here and you realize that that's the expectation inside the locker room as well. So for me, that's excellent. That's exactly what I was looking for in my free agency journey. And as I come up on, the latter part and the latter stages of my career, I want to be on a team that expects to do big things, and that's exactly what this club expects.
As a veteran, has there been anything unique here that you haven't experienced at any other franchise so far?
I wouldn't say too unique in terms of the experiences that I've already had. What I would say is that, especially in Nashville and Chicago, Nashville, the academy wasn't super built out yet. It's very early on in the process of building that academy out, and the same in Chicago. There weren't many academy players that joined us for training. The thing that's unique and similar to my time at New York Red Bulls is that the academy here is really impressive, and I talked about it a little bit with some of the guys in the locker room, but some of the academy kids and some of the players that have played with the twos that have trained with us for the first couple weeks are just incredibly impressive. And you would almost expect 15, 16, 17-year-olds to, maybe bring the level of training down a little bit and be a little bit out of place. I don't see that at all here in preseason, and I'm just extremely impressed with the talent coming through the pipeline. And it's not just on the field; it's how mature they are off the field, how respectful they are. They come around and they shake everyone's hand at every meal and say good morning to everybody, and you can just tell that stuff like that is ingrained in the kids when they're really young, and it's really impressive to see. So maybe that's a little bit unique.
What's kind of the advice you've given them as a veteran who's been in this league for a while?
Well, the first thing I said was just enjoy it, right? Because you don't want to ever, even as a young guy, you never want to let the moment get too big for you, and you're here for a reason. So express yourself, go out on the field, and enjoy it. When I was growing up, I never had the opportunity to do what these kids are able to do, right? And so I tell them, listen, don't complain about anything. Be adaptable, be approachable, and just be a sponge. Try to soak up everything, and just try to be a good listener and do whatever your teammates and coaches ask of you, because that's how you earn respect. And once you earn respect of the seasoned professionals, they're going to take you under their wing, and they're going to make sure that they do everything they can to help you succeed. So just a really impressive group of young players here.
Speaking of not letting the moment get too big, thinking back to Saturday in Birmingham, lead on, you all had a 2-1 lead in. All the academy players were out there trying to see that lead out. So that had to have impressed you.
So unfortunately, we had a little gym session right after my group got out inside the locker room, and I was kind of bummed. I tried to power lift through that thing quickly so I could come back out and see them. But I got back out on the field to be able to watch, I think, the last 5-10 minutes of that game, and I asked one of our athletic trainers how it had been going, and the response was, it's been chippy. And I love that. I love that attitude from young guys who they want to come in and they want to see out the game and make sure that we win. Because, that's something that Gonzalo has expressed to the group in preseason, is that, of course, it's about a process. It's about building relationships. It's about trying to improve and get better. But I want to win. You start the habit of winning in preseason, and that will carry over into the regular season. And so there was a lot of rust in that preseason game from myself, from some of the more experienced veteran players. And to send on a young group with 30 minutes left, winning 2-1, and for them to be able to see out the game in a professional way, I think that just speaks volumes about the club and the academy and just their attitude about approaching, how they want to be maybe remembered by the coaching staff at this point in time.
You said before you arrived you felt like a rookie heading into this. Is that feeling still there at this point?
It 100% is still there. Going into the locker room, making sure that I have learned and know and remembered everyone's name. That was a little intimidating at first, but I think I've done a good job. Don't test me, because I'll plead the fifth right now. The thing that's, I think, unique about this club and a little bit different than Nashville is that you have not just first team players and staff, but you have academy players and staff. You have front office staff. You have the scouting department. You have some people that are club liaisons and working in marketing and ticketing. And so there's a lot of people up there. And just to see the way everybody interacts at this club, you can see there's a real alignment and synergy with the direction that the club wants to head. It's been really fun trying to just learn a new system, a new coaching style, a new trading schedule and cadence, right? Because in 4 years at Nashville, I got really used to how everything was done at that club, because we've only had one coach, a very similar staff, very similar players for the whole 4 years I was there. And now you come into a club that is totally different in the way that they see how the game should be played, and it's really exciting to be able to come into that environment and try to earn the respect of your coaches and players, and also show them that you're going to be able to contribute in a positive way on the field. So I wake up with a smile on my face every morning.
It's definitely a much different game model.
Yes.
What's the learning curve like?
Well, it's exciting. I mean, the teams that I've played at, the styles of play and the game models have all been little differences and slight nuances here and there. I would say the differences between Nashville and Atlanta in terms of the way that they go about their business is very different. And it's definitely in line with how I love to play, with how I see the game, how the game, in my opinion, should be played. Just stepping out to the training field the first week and being able to touch the ball as much as we touch the ball, little rondos and boxes and 5v2 drills and possession drills that are small exercises that then bleed into bigger possession exercises that then bleed into bigger possession games with goals and small goals. I mean, it's just you can see that there's a lot of thought put into how they want to approach preseason and how they want to approach training and how they want to try to approach making sure that all the players get on the same page. And so for me, it's awesome. And it's a little bit of a rewiring of your brain and the things that you're used to, because I was so used to playing in a certain way in Nashville. That's exciting and fun for me. It gives me something, it gives me a challenge to look forward to. And, there are some bumps in the road. There are some hiccups. I feel like in the Birmingham game, little mistakes where I need to be better and cleaner. And that is also in training, right? Where you need to be better and cleaner and maybe play a little bit faster and make sure your brain's up to the speed of the game. And so it's been just very exciting, but also very rewarding, because I know that this team has I think a big expectation to do well this year, and I think that we're ready to meet that challenge head on.
That's always cool to hear from United, right?
Yeah, you love to hear.
Emily, what's on your mind?
Don't do that, Scott. What's on your mind?
Okay, well, what's on my mind? Look, what's on my mind is the Hawks tonight against it's always big when the LA Lakers come to town, right? Every kid is excited because you get to see LeBron James and Anthony Davis, two great players. Well, you certainly won't be seeing Anthony Davis tonight because he was ruled out hours before the game with a pelvis injury. And LeBron James, from what I can understand, is still questionable. Not sure if he's going tonight. So that's kind of a bummer, right? One time you get to see him.
No, and by the way, I like when Scott tells me what's on his mind before my mind, and that's why I want him to go first.
See, well, that's fine.
I mean, it's always better when you go first, but I want to feed off of that and say, like you mentioned it, and it is true. Like, for anybody who bought tickets to this game just hoping to see LeBron James,
sucks.
It's kind of like Messi when Messi came here.
Yeah.
And all those people were hoping to see Messi, sold out Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and he didn't show up. Just show up and wait.
I thought you were saying like it's messy that he's not playing, like it's a mess.
Messy for Miami.
I get you.
But it's messy too. So it's messy 1 and 2.
That's cool.
But that's what I think, is that just show up and wave. So I mean, at least he can show up and wave, right?
Well, we got to get out of here, all right? So thanks for watching Sports Tonight. Always fun, Emily. Appreciate you. And we'll be back at you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, everybody.
Deuces.